Hey everybody, how's it going? Ta-da. Here, let's start this drone up here. Keep that going for Audrey if he's here. We'll do a Rick too. Get the Rick going. There we go. Keep droning that D sharp, E flat, whatever it is. Let's see. How's everybody doing? Let's see. Mr. Hopkins and the Wookiee. Hey there, Andy. Let's see. Bass Bus. There we go. Andra Jams. Hey there. Are you new? Maybe not. I don't remember. I have a terrible memory. Hey, Freddie. Marky. There's Reg. Greetings. Let's see. Who else is sneaking around here? Casual Noises. Hello. Meine Frau ist eine Mörtelfrau. I hope I'm saying that right. My German is terrible. I don't even know if that note I wrote is grammatically correct. You'll have to let me know. Let's see. Who else is in here? Hey, Garen. Greetings. Let's see. If I missed anyone, I'm sorry. Doug. Hey there. Lords of Form. And Dr. Cynthio. Greeting. And Tutu. Andra says, new to live stream, regular listener and watcher. All right, cool. Thanks, man. Or, sorry. I'm I'm Gen X from the 80s. Everyone's man. Hey, man. How's it going? And then Fascisario. Hello. And my Logify. Nice. All right. Let's see. I did that whole, that sort of 15-minute opening with the door open. I can hear my wife in the background. Hang on a minute while I close the door. There we go. I'm on a leash. The microphone doesn't quite reach the door. So, this world needs a hero. Greetings. You were here before. Okay, welcome back. Anyway, so we're droning. Yeah, so that was, so I sat, oh God, the last week I've been doing just like gardening. Because like right around Mother's Day is like when all the sales are on and flowers and all that. And we had some contractors come in and remove all of the shrubbery from around our house and extend the beds out 16 feet from the house. So they're really big beds now. And then my wife and I, for Mother's Day, went shopping for flowers and shrubbery and things like that. And basically over the last week, I've planted about 160 different plants of varying sizes. Let me tell you, buying an auger was the best thing I ever did. Bought an auger last year, which is basically a powered tool for drilling, and as opposed to using a shovel to dig all those holes. And it was about $300 maybe, and battery powered, and it's money well spent. It is money well spent. Buy an auger if you have to do any gardening. Yeah, everything's in for the most part. We've got a bunch of things in there. Put down 9 yards of loam. Crazy gardening. So I haven't been working on music very much, and today was the first day I got to come back. And do work on some music. Like I wasn't gardening this morning when I got up. Words of Form. What's my main income? I have a day job. I work in tech. Yeah, music is a hobby. So, and gardening is apparently my second job, as far as my wife is concerned. But today was the first day I got to get back into sort of focusing on some music. And what I wanted to do for the thing today was do a little Berlin School, although my Berlin School is Berlin School techniques, and it tends to lean into like a prog sort of place. Instrumental. I don't want to say jazz because I'm not a jazz guy, but meh. So, Lords of Form, are you out of here? Ta? I don't know if ta is a euphemism, at least here in Boston, for ta-ta, I'll see you later. So, but if you're leaving, that's cool. Anyway, but I got in there and sat on the porch this morning. The weather was great, and I just made patterns. So that's what you were listening to. I've made a bunch of Berlin School patterns for laying out as beds. So stuff like really sparse things. So, you know, a lot of delay, a lot of reverb. Right. I don't know how the camera resolution is. If you can't see the MIDI events in here, let me know. I'll flip over to Ableton. Oh, Tom means thanks. Good to know. Tom means thanks. Good to know. All right, learn a little new culture every time I stream. Yeah, we always end up saying ta, like ta. It's like the kind of thing my wife says to her friends if she's leaving. Nah, good to know. Anyway, so I've basically sat on the porch and made patterns on the Ableton Move. So these are all Move patterns, and then dropped them onto the cloud, and then they came over into my streaming set. Super easy. It's a great tool. I'm super happy with it. But you end up layering. So like, you look at this one's playing, and we'll start this one up. And we'll play him. And so basically I made a bunch of 3-layer beds that I can then play over with the synth lead and the e-piano stuff. And then I added I let the Rick bass just do its thing. I added a bass line earlier and I was just triggering them. But as you saw, you could play over them. It's kind of interesting. So let's start all 3 layers. Right? So that just goes, I've got a rhythm loop in the background that I just bring in and out over here. And then play over it, right? So pull up, this is the subsequent 37. And then as I was jamming out with you guys, I would just move through, right? So we started with this, right? That's all that's going. And then the jelly beans over here was for doing transpositions. Right, so we could transpose it around and then keep playing. And the nice thing is, which I didn't get into, is now that I've got all these patterns in the same key, I can mix and match. So we could stop the bass and we can pick like the Rick is sustaining. Stop that. There you go. It's like just these 3, if we look at them. So we've got this off, sort of syncopated little chab. Right, and then this one is the Glock. And then this one, just real sparse stuff. It's just a repeating figure. Now, a lot of times when I do Berlin School, I do really short repeating figures, right? So we can bring these down. These are a little bit longer for a bed because I like to jam over the bed. But if we were to shorten these, let's bring this loop length down to like 1. Bring this one down to like 1. Bring this one down to 1. Did I get that right? I may have missed this one. Ah, that's why. There we go. That's more Berlin school, like real short figures. And then let's see, on the bass, we'll do this. We'll put a Berlini. Yeah, we'll do a really short 1-bar loop. That's terrible. That'll work. Let's drop that an octave. Hang on a second. That's more Berlin school. Still, timbre-wise, it's not super Berlin school, but we'll put a drone over it. That's better. Whoops. There we go. Why drums? Why not? I like having a little rhythm in there. Here, we'll take it out for Dr. Cynthia. If we take it out, then we can actually, we can get silly. Not silly. We can get interesting. Let's do this. Let's make them odd loop lengths so they don't match up and start phasing. So let's do this. Loop length. That one. And then we'll do this one. There. So what is that? 8, 11. So this one's 11 beats. 11 beats long. This one is 6 beats long, and this one is also 6 beats long. Let's make this one shorter. Four and a half. Now we don't know where the downbeat is. Let's do this. Let's delete our bass. Let's record a new bass line. All right. And we'll use the bass to establish a downbeat, since everything else is like, we don't know where, without a drum part, you know, a kick or something to indicate where the downbeat is. They could be anywhere, which is, you know, maybe something you like. But I like to kind of know where it is. So like if we sustain. That's fine, Dr. Cynthia. It's all good. It's nice because then when I bring the drums in, if I have at least one instrument that knows where the downbeat is or can indicate to me where it is, when I can bring the drum in on a place where I like it. Yeah, it's Andy working at 0 BPM for sure. Always entertaining. Pardon me while I take a drink here. But I've got all these patterns laid out here. And I recorded a couple of the melodies, so I can always start them up again. Transpose it around. Walk down. Weird. Something around here is sending a MIDI CC in that I'm not expecting, and it's getting routed over to the subsequent 37, and that CC is mapped to resonance. Oh, you know what? It's the slider that I've got over on the side that's controlling the rhythm part. Yeah, the slider I've got controlling the volume of the rhythm part is also mapped to resonance on the subsequent. So when I bring the drums up, it throws the resonance off. And I'll just manually reach over to dial it down. I wanted to play a lot today because I've been gardening and haven't been working on music at all. Logify asks, do you also use the matriarch in the live stream? I haven't for about a year. The matriarch is angering me right now. Not the matriarch, the modules I have connected to it. I ranted about that, I think, a week ago. I am frustrated by one module that is advertised to do something, but it patently doesn't do it. And so whenever you look at that, I'm going to rant just for a second. Strap in. All right. So I ranted about this last week. I've got a module that's supposed to do MIDI to CV conversion. It's supposed to do 4-note polyphony. And the problem is, hang on a second, that's still sustaining. That's fine. We'll let it sustain. Because I'm angry. We'll make it an angry sustain. No, that's annoying. Never mind. Stop. It doesn't do what it says on the tin, unfortunately, because the people who are manufacturing it are not the original manufacturers. They are the people who were willing to take up the slack when the first company went out of business. Anyway, so the upshot is when I look at the matriarch, I see that faulty module and it just makes me angry, and then I don't talk to the matriarch at all. So I will get around to it. It's just a matter of time. It may show up on the stream. So I don't know. I mean, it's a great synth, and I really want to do what I want to do with it, but you know, I'm just scrolling back through the chat really quick. Hey, Engine Einzamal, greetings, and Rourke, greetings. If I missed any questions, just ask it again, but tag me or put a couple capital Qs in the beginning. Otherwise, I will. I may miss it. So. I'm just fiddling with the sub 37 here. Hang on one sec. Let's do this. For Dr. Cynthia, we'll take the rhythm out for a minute. I just had a panic attack. I've got the metronome clicking in my ear now. I'd forgotten it. Had started at the beginning without it. And then I turned it on when I was doing some solos. But I didn't check to see whether the metronome was going out on the stream. Which is, some people get really annoyed when the metronome is clicking in the background, which I can understand. I'm so used to hearing it. Wookie, just throw it out. Yeah, I know. I'll get there. I really like this sound. Let's solo this for a second. I really like the sound of this mod wave patch. This one here. No, I'm applying an echo and a reverb from Ableton. Here's what it sounds like. Dry. Relatively dry. It still sounds great. There's a lot going on the mod wave here. And when I put the delay and reverb on it from Ableton that I like, the reason I do it because it sort of makes it a little quackier in the mid-range, and it's like it's sort of like 80s tenor sax, maybe oboe. I can envision that really super muscular guy who plays the saxophone in what's the Mad Max movie with Tina Turner? Thunderdome. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Yeah, it's that. There's that guy who plays the sax and he's like totally like Schwarzenegger, muscled up. And I just see him playing with Tangerine Dream with this sound. What is the patch called on the mod wave? It is called Delicate Dance, which may be a factory preset. I grabbed a bunch of preset libraries for the Korg synths from this site, lfo.store, S-T-O-R-E. And some of them were garbage, and some of them were excellent. So, I don't know, this might be one of those. Because I don't really track it. What are we doing? So this is the mod, no, Op 6. I use sounds like this a lot. If I'm going to pull an FM synth up, I want that sort of, that Jan Hammer, that just 80s, that 80s comping. I love that. That particular, that little cadence that's mid 80s Tangerine Dream for me. Right around the time the Legend soundtrack was going on. They didn't have, this doesn't sound like the Legend soundtrack, but the timbres they were using, that was like right out of there. So, let's see, Doug asks, you love that chord. Well, on a grid, I tend not to play chords. I tend to play intervals, right? And so I'll play two stacked. That's just a fourth. And you can just move that pattern. You can move fourths all over the key, and it just sounds like in that sort of 80s jazz, new age kind of. And you could put a root under it, so you can do like that. This is basically what is this? This is a minor seventh. It's this pattern, but this one is raised up an octave. So you're doing this. I'm not a theory guy, so I am doing a book on music theory at work with a bunch of other synth nerds, actually. So this is the same as this, just without the third right here. It's up here. So I don't know if that helps, Doug, but hey, Shenanigans, you're on the gardening leave. We were just talking about gardening earlier. Nice. Do love the Op 6 anyway. Anyway, so that's what's playing here. And then the wave state is doing the Glock. I use the glockenspiel a lot on the wave state. If you sustain it, it's got a little ARP thing in the background. On the wave state, what is this called? It's called Subtle Thoughts. It's one of the factory presets. Yeah, we're doing a music theory. Actually, it's like a, I want to say it's in GitHub. It's a public domain theory workshop kind of thing. I'll share it on the Discord. I'll share it on the Discord, Jeff. Send a link to it. Taskboy and I are doing it with a couple other people. Let's see. Where were we? Oh, op6. That's the wave state. And then the multi-poly. I just want to pluck. I like these comping things. And I can use them for plucks. So I'm probably underutilizing the multi-poly because that's not like a... Everybody likes multi-poly patches that tear your face off. I guess I'm just mellow. And then the mod wave is playing our saxophone guy from our sax oboe from Beyond Thunderdome. Ain't no link. Sometimes subtle is what is needed, yes. I'm learning a few new skills. I'm learning a little bit about subtlety. I'm learning about tact. I had to learn about tact at work. Anyway, that's a story I won't be sharing on stream. I was less than tactful with some peers at work, and it hurt somebody's feelings. Anyway, and then the subsequent 37. With a big Valhalla shimmery reverb behind it for a wash. I'm a sucker for E-piano. If you hadn't noticed, I really, like I said 5 minutes ago, I don't play chords very much. I play intervals. And I layer them, right? So one instrument will be playing... Wait, a lead will be playing a lead line, monophonic. But something like this will be playing intervals. So like I'll be playing, you know, fifths, fourths, third. Right? I'll be arpeggiating them. You can think of them as riffs. Right, so we're just really going between the fifth and fourth. Like that. So I know what these intervals sound like. 7. Right? And I then walk through them. So if I know I want to do kind of this, I could do it like that, or I could go. I'll do that a lot, and then layer that stuff together. So just my way of approaching it. So I don't really think in terms of chords very much. But anyway, so yes, where were we? So the E-piano, the drone is just a drone I grabbed. I think it's right out of Omnisphere, something like that. And then the Rick Minotaur Taurus pedal layered patch. What are we doing? 250. So let's start over again. So for those of you who came in late, I'm going to do the same jam that I did at the beginning so you can hear it. And we'll just do a little sort of Berlin School light jazz we started with this. I built a bunch of patterns while I was sitting on the patio this morning using the Ableton Move. So I made a bunch of patterns, got them sounding like Berlin school beds that I liked, and then moved them across the cloud into my Ableton set. And so I've got these to work with, and I can solo over with this stuff. Let's delete these. There we go. So we'll be laying in lead lines. We'll record those while these beds are playing. Right. So, oh yeah, so I suppose if we want, do you guys want me to tear down the performance? Right? It's really patterns. Start playing. We got a bed. I've got 2 instruments, 3 really, that I can play lead lines on. Right? And I just noodle. Right? And then bring in more parts. Do some transposition. Sorry, Dr. Cithio, I needed the drums. Flip to one of the other patterns that I had prepared. We'll keep the bass the same. record a new E-piano part while we're here. wind it down. down, and I will pay attention to the chat and then probably wrap it up. What's sustaining? The Rick. There we go. I got to work on my endings. Anyway, so I think that's probably good for today. Let's see if I missed anything in the chat here. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, Roy Droid Void. Hey, man. I'm just wrapping up. Lords of Form, you got a gig. Cool. Set on Ableton 12 and Push 2 plus live guitar. Nice, man. Enjoy. Break a leg. Let's see. You doing it today? Like later today? How would I advise play live dub echoes and verbs? Many things not answered. So just your opinion. Let's see. For live dub echoes and verbs, so if you're using Ableton 12, if you want dub echo, you should use the echo device. It's like super good at dub echo. Let's see. Hang on a second. Let's do this. Let's walk away from this for a second and we'll go look at this. Sorry if you guys don't like Ableton, but we're being edumacational. So, thanks, Roy. Let's see. Lords of Form. So I'd use the echo device. It's, let me find this thing. Let's go to, where's the Op6? This one. All right. All right. So the audio's coming in from the Op6 here. Let me know if you guys can't see Ableton. It should be showing you. Anyway, use the echo device. There's a delay device, but the echo device is really intended to be, it's a space echo, right? And I mean, I think it's got presets for like dub sounds. But as far as, you've got independent left and right, you can set different times. You can set them with different like syncopations. You can offset them by percentages. You can totally, you can overdrive the input. So, and it really, let's see, let me show you. So you can overdrive the delay as well. Right, you can play with, sounds great. It plays well, it's got a built-in reverb, and then just drop this out. Check the other tabs. The modulation section is really nice. You can have it do really crazy delay stuff. You can also have it duck. I tend to duck stuff. So when I'm playing, you can hear the delays rise back up, right? You set the release time for 100 milliseconds or whatever. Set the threshold to be about whatever your level is. So if you look over here in channel 1, when I play, look at where my levels are. Right, they're between 30 and 24. Right, so I set my threshold low, around 34. So as soon as the signal goes above about 34, it doesn't allow, it ducks the delay, and then when I stop playing, they swell up. And so for dub, that's great because you can solo over it and then have these insanely long feedback echoes that swell up afterwards, right? We can do this kind of deal. Right, it swells up and then plays out. So you could play these real sparse lines. And then let that rise up and do its thing. And then as it fades out, you put something else in. Right, that's the release here is a little short. So if you set the release to be like 350, third of a second, it fades up a lot smoother, not quite so jarring. right? And you can set the delay, you can filter it. Like I've got it pulling a lot of stuff out, so it gets that radio effect as it's echoing. Super useful. And then for reverb, hang on one second. Reg said shorten the loops did it. Great. All right, cool. Reg, I'm glad you found something interesting. And then reverb-wise, I just use the hybrid reverb which is another Ableton stock, or I'll use Valhalla. Oh, look at this. The OTT compressor, which is not turned on. This is left over from a couple weeks ago when I was talking about OTT. I just reuse the same set every week. There's this embarrassing truth. The hybrid reverb's great. You have to read the manual on it because it does a lot. But let me turn this echo off for a second. So here's our dry op 6. There's a little phaser and a little bit of inherent reverb on the patch itself coming from the op 6. But this hybrid reverb is just nice. Let me make it a little wetter. Bring your decay up to about 9 seconds. Right, this is using its little tides algorithm, so there's a little modulation on the ambience. So you combine that with this dub delay. Right, and there's your wash. Now, I'm not sure if the dub you're talking about is the dub that I'm shooting for here, but I'm like, dub as in like dub reggae, like lots of delay, lots of echo, right? So makes a good chorus too. It does make a good chorus. Gotcha. Ducking. Yeah, the ducking helps a lot. It's just nice to keep the delays out of the way. So if you really want to play the delays, all right, let me get out of this. Hang on a second. I like to wave my hands around when I'm talking. So when you're playing, right, I like to have the delay out of the way so I can play a lead. You can hear the melody. There's actually a little too much reverb on there. So you can do whatever. Yeah, hands. What is this? Wabbit style, Quasi Wabbit. Anyway, so that's that. The weekly YouTube updates are really annoying. What do you mean, Biscuit? Hey, Tracy. Tracy, if you came in and I missed you, sorry. I just saw you. I saw someone else tag you. So, where are you? Went past hour getting YouTube work on my TV. Oh, that's the updates we're talking about. Okay. Yeah. It's regional too. Like, so, if you're in, YouTube will they'll have like 3 different updates that slightly change the way the app behaves, and they'll send like some of them only to people on the West Coast, some of them people only on the East Coast of the US, and some people to like UK or Germany. And then they see who complains or loves, or are they engaged more, like are the eyes glued to the videos more, and then they'll go with that. That's how they do their user experience testing. So depending on where you live, you can get like, you'll be the test subject for different like versions of the app. It's crazy. I mean, it's smart, but whatever. I don't know. Depends on whether you're happy with being a guinea pig. Yeah, breaks the chat. Yeah. Anyway, well, gents, I don't think there are any. Let's see. Is Davey here? Davey or Anna here? All right. Well, so I said gents. If anybody here identifies as female, sorry, ladies and gents, I am out of here. I am going to go sit in my garden. That is finally done-ish. We got to do mulch. We'll be mulching the garden next week. But I hope this was fun for you. If you missed I tried to do a little jam there at the end. If you can scroll back to the beginning if you're interested in that. There's a ta-ta. Thank you, Andy, for clarifying. For demonstrating. It was clarified earlier. But Yeah, the 34 men and one woman in the audience. I know, it's okay. The electronic music in general is like industry is, what is it, toxic for women. Anyway, but that's a different rant. It's been handled. Other people have ranted on that. I don't need to. Thanks, and everyone have fun. I am going to log us out. I am going to go enjoy the garden for sure. And everyone have a great time. Talk to you later. Bye.